Well, good evening on this last day of March 2022. President Uhuru Kenyatta and his handshake partner Raila Odinga have won at the Supreme Court, but also lost. Now, the Building Bridges initiatives has flopped after a 7-judge bench of the Supreme Court ruled against it. 6 of the 7 judges agreed that the president cannot lead a popular initiative to amend the constitution. But how did the appellants in the case win, though? Tonight on Game Plan 2022, we take a look at the 5 of the 7 issues that the appellants carried the day with and the possible political ramifications that will come with the fall of the BBI. Good evening. I'm Eric Munene. Our sign language anchor tonight is Mini Mbesa. But first, the highlights. Tonight, end of the road for BBI. It's the end of the road for BBI as Supreme Court judges declare BBI unconstitutional. Ruto lauds judges. Well done. Kenya Kwanza leaders led by DP Ruto laud the Supreme Court judges for shooting down the BBI. And manufacturers of baby feeding bottles to adhere to strict rules as government denies claims of banning the bottles. Good evening once more and welcome to the broadcast. Well, the Supreme Court has upheld rulings by the High Court and the Court of Appeal that rendered the BBI process unconstitutional. In their judgment, the 7-judge bench of the Apex Court maintained that President Uhuru Kenyatta's role in the initiation of the BBI process, as well as the second schedule in the BBI bill that paves the way for the BBI to delimit 70 new constituencies, illegitimized the entire process that sought to make changes to the Constitution. Now, David Mudhoka begins this bulletin tonight. The 6-hour judgment delivered by the 7-judge bench of the Supreme Court on Thursday appeared to imply the end of the road for the BBI process, more than 2 years since the BBI journey took off and 10 months since the Constitutional Amendment Bill 2020 faced its first legal turbulence in a High Court ruling that rendered the bill unconstitutional. And after the BBI was dealt a second blow at the Court of Appeal in August last year, after its proponents sought to overturn the High Court ruling, hopes for a lifeline at the Apex Court were quickly dashed after the Supreme Court upheld the rulings of the 2 superior courts by rendering BBI unconstitutional. Among the 7 issues that formed the basis of submissions by the 7 judges, 2 were singled out as having jinxed the BBI process, as a majority of the Supreme Court bench ruled that they were in breach of the Constitution. In one of the issues, President Uhuru Kenyatta's involvement in the BBI process was put under legal scrutiny, with the Supreme Court bench, save for Judge Njoki Ndung'u, ruling that neither president nor a state agency are eligible to initiate amendments to the Constitution via popular initiative, the Supreme Court maintaining that the popular initiative is a reserve for citizens.
Although the Secretariat does not disclose its origin, its ancestry, its family tree, its gene cannot be concealed. The affidavit says it all. The great-grandfather is the handshake, the grandfather is the task force, its father is the steering committee, and the surname of all of them is Building Bridges Initiative.
I'm confounded by the fact that the superior courts address the constitutional power of the people at length, but for whatever reason fail to take into account that the president is a directly elected representative of the people and he can exercise delegated power on their behalf.
Amid the dissent, the bench read from the same script in deciding whether the BBI process had the mandate to delimit new constituencies. Unanimously, the 7 judges ruled that the second schedule of the Constitutional Amendment Bill 2020 that paved the way for the creation of 70 new constituencies was in contravention of the law.
Boundaries of constituencies are a very emotive question in Kenya, and that is precisely why Section 89 is very elaborate as to the procedure to be undertaken when new constituents are being created.
The judgment that could set the stage for future amendments to the current constitution has since sparked numerous reactions within legal circles, with opponents and proponents of BBI entangled in a debate as to whether the bill could one day spring back to life.
Well, the BBI process cannot continue because this was one bill and the questions were jointly presented. So you cannot remove certain parts and take the bill on choice questions. So you succeed as a whole or collapse as a whole.
And the court actually didn't even go into the issue of the content of the BBI, by the way. The court said we are not going into the content of the... The only question they raised was the issue of constituencies. But that constituencies issue, you can follow the appropriate process and still deal with it. Yeah, so BBI is alive. Nobody can stop reggae in the bathroom, reggae in the bedroom, reggae everywhere.
BBI imezikwa. Aliyekufa hatafufuliwa. Ni mmoja tu duniani aliyefufulika na kaenda mbinguni, anaitwa Yesu Kristo.
This comes at a time when key BBI promoters, among them Azimio la Umoja presidential candidate Raila Odinga, have since announced that they have moved on.
Now, with BBI opponents terming the judgment by the 7-judge bench at the Supreme Court as the final nail on the BBI coffin, proponents of the bill have, however, expressed confidence that the BBI tune will be back someday. David Mudoka, TV47 at the Supreme Court, Nairobi.
Now, the Supreme Court has dealt a final blow to the Building Bridges initiative that was meant to initiate constitutional amendments and silence the reggae tune for good, while delivering the Supreme decision that spelled doom to a process that brought together President Uhuru Kenyatta and ODM leader Raila Odinga. The jury said the president cannot initiate a popular initiative and he was in contravention of the Constitution. Mwangi Maina now reports on the issues that were upheld, quashed, and the future of the BBI.
The highest court on the land drove the final nail into the BBI's coffin, silencing the Eri BBI reggae, ostensibly for good. The 7 judges pulled the plug on a process they faulted as unconstitutional, rendering it null and void. The appellants lost on 2 key grounds that they held close to their hearts, which they thought would be overturned and probably salvage the BBI that was allegedly meant to cure toxic politics, tribalism, and winner-take-all after every general election. The bench upheld the ruling of the superior courts that the president cannot initiate constitutional amendments or changes through a popular initiative under Article 257 of the Constitution. The jury ruled President Uhuru Kenyatta contravened the Constitution. The second ground that threw BBI into oblivion is that the bench upheld the ruling that the BBI Amendment Bill of 2020 is unconstitutional for contravening Articles 10 subsection 2 and Article 89 of the Constitution. However, the appellants enjoyed a huge win after 5 decisions of the superior courts were quashed, rendering them nugatory. The Supreme Court ruled the basic structure doctrine does not apply to Kenya, and hence any section of the Constitution can be amended. Civil proceedings cannot be instituted in court against the person of the president during his tenure of office. The IEBC was also relieved by the Supreme Court ruling that the Commission was not obligated to ensure that the BBI promoters complied with the requirements of public participation. In addition, the IEBC got a relief after the jury ruled that it had the requisite composition and quorum to undertake the verification of signatures. It was also a win for the appellants after the court ruled it was not ripe for the superior courts to determine whether or not one or multiple questions were to be submitted during the referendum. Going forward, the BBI will indubitably be a political weapon, hurting one side of the campaigns while emboldening the other in the race to State House. With BBI opposers feeling vindicated, the BBI politics will form a huge chunk of campaign conversations. BBI proponents also have an opportunity to present some of the amendments in the BBI to Parliament for consideration. Mwangi Maina, TV47, Nairobi.
Now moving on, Deputy President William Ruto is a happy man after the Building Bridges initiative driven by his opponents, former Prime Minister Raila Odinga and President Uhuru Kenyatta, flopped And as our Paul Kirobi reports, Ruto wants President Uhuru Kenyatta to apologize to Kenyans for what he says is wasting public resources on the initiative.
Deputy President William Ruto has lauded Supreme Court judges following their decision to quash the BBI process. Speaking during his campaigns in Deputy President William Ruto has lauded Supreme Court judges following their decision to quash the BBI process. Speaking during his campaigns in Wajir and Lamu counties, the DP insisted the BBI was meant to create positions of power for some few leaders.
Ati nobody can stop reggae. Reggae imekwama haijakwama. Reggae imefika tamati haijafika. Imefika mwisho haijafika. And we want to tell our friends, the handshake brothers and the BBI fraud they visited on the people of Kenya. Now that it is confirmed by the Supreme Court that the BBI and all the shenanigans around it were matters that were unconstitutional, illegal, null and void.
Hiyo safari leo imefika mwisho na mahakama kuu imesema ya kwamba walivunja sheria na hiyo handshake na BBI yao is unconstitutional, it is illegal, it is null and void. I want to speak to the Azimio brothers. I want to speak to the handshake brothers. You have wasted our 4 years as a nation.
According to the mover of the bill, the drafted BBI bill sought to address issues of inclusivity, to end political violence witnessed after every electioneering period, address challenges of tribalism facing the country, and also end corruption scandals. However, the DP has differed with the narrative.
Today, you are the biggest beneficiary of corruption in Kenya. The money you are using in the campaign is money stolen by governors. And you have been given that money, you have asked for that money using force from governors.
Tunasema ikiwa ni hivyo, tunataka accountability, tunataka pesa za umma ambazo zimetumika kwa mradi ambao umekwama, ambao umekataliwa, wale ambao walihusika wachunguzwe na tutawachunguzwa, wastakiwe, ushahidi utolewe, na sisi turudishiwe pesa kama wa Kenya.
The delivery of the judgment by the 6th judge bench will now open up a new political matrix.
By declaring that the basic structure doctrine is foreign, it has cleared the way for us to initiate amendments, either through parliament or by popular initiative. And it actually means that reggae is back. It is as simple as this. It's taking the document, severing the second schedule, which is actually not part of the document as such, and then either bringing it to Parliament to initiate the process of amendment or simply giving it to any Kenyan anywhere.
Wakijaribu kusema sijui maneno 5 ilipitishwa, wacha niwaeleze. Ukienda kwa uchaguzi hata hii tunaedanga. Usianze kulialia ati nimeshinda na kura 2, nimeshindwa na kura 3. There is only one winner in this game. And the winner today was the people of Kenya. And the loser was the president, his brother, the other of the group called Null and Void.
Hii nchi mfano ya ule mtu anataka kuacha Wakenya wakipigana ni hii handshake brothers Uhuru Kenyatta na Raila Amolo Odinga. Tunataka mkubali matokeo ya kotini na mrudi kazini, na ile pesa ilitumika kwa BBI. Tafadhali you pay personal responsibility na mlipe hiyo pesa irudi kwa public coffers. Hiyo pesa isaidie wazee. Pesa ya wazee ifike mashinani.
With the BBI reggae stopped, focus now shifts to the August polls. Paul Kirobi, TV47. Nairobi.
Now, a move by the Supreme Court judges to quash the BBI process has elicited mixed reactions among Kenyans. A section of Kenyans has lauded the move, with others hopeful that the BBI reggae will be back soon. Maria Mocharo tells us more.
With the sentiments expressed by Ringera J. in Joya 2, that an amendment that upsets the basic structure of the Constitution could not be effected by Parliament without involving of the people.
A ruling by the Supreme Court judges on BBI continues to elicit mixed reaction among Kenyans, with a section of Kenyans lauding the move, saying it was a burden for Kenyans.
It's either win on both sides and it's either lose on both sides. So pia wale wako in a catch-22 situation because ingepita maana umeona kuna mvutano kati yao, nani akue running mate, mara wanavutana huko. Sasa ingepita ingepatia easy platform ya kugawana hivyo vio. Pia sisi upande wetu tunaona kama tumepoteza, lakini hatujapoteza sana.
Mimi na support wenye wamelikata kwa sababu hiyo ni kutuongezea mzigo kama wananchi. And then sasa hizo 7 constituencies ama sijui ni ngapi zilikuwa zikreatiwe, na of course kutafutia watu makazi, prime minister na sijui hizo vitu zote zilikuwa ziongezwe. So in my opinion it's very good for the mwananchi.
Si ndio, because ilikuwa kitu ya ujinga, kitu ya position. Huyu achukue hii, huyu achukue hii, huyu achukue hii. Lakini iko inasaidia mwananchi. Na ndio unaona Azimio ni grupu ya wazee. Ni nyumba ya wazee, watu wamekusanya pamoja, wanadanganya watu wao wadogo ili waendelee na kufanya hii maneno wanafanyanga. Na sasa sisi tumeshawagundua. Na ninaona koti imeona hii ni utoto inafanywa. Haitasaidia mtu, ni kutumia tu pesa na hakuna pesa inaletwa.
A section of Kenyans are however against the ruling, terming it as a big loss.
Kama watu wa Ruiru ni watu zaidi ya watu 200,000 ambao wako katika constituency moja. Na hao watu wote ndio BBI ilikuwa inakusudia kutengenezea one man one vote one shilling. Lakini sasa hiyo ni kama imepotea. Lakini tutasema ya kwamba we will revisit. Tutarudia hiyo kwa maana bado haki yetu haijatendeka.
Sisi hatujafurahi hata kidogo kuona vile kumeendelea juu tunasupport rais wetu na chama cha Jubilee, na tulikuwa tunataka hiyo mambo yote ipite na ifike pahali imefika ndio wananchi wasaidike huko kwa grassroots.
Niseme kama hapa Thika tungenufaika na eneo lingine la bunge, na Kiambu in general ilikuwa ipate kama eneo bunge 6, na kama Nairobi pia ilikuwa iongezeke, Nakuru pia na zile eneo zingine za Kenya. So ningeomba wale viongozi tuko nao wasiselekee, wasitumie hili jambo kama sasa wamepata kitu ya kupiga siasa nayo, lakini ila waseme venye wataiendeleza na venye watairainisha sasa ingie venye wangetaka na ifuate sheria.
Despite the varying opinions, Kenyans want leaders and politicians to save them from the harsh economic times instead of focusing on politics and constitutional amendments. Mariam Wacharo, TV 47.
Well, the Constitutional Amendment Bill 2020, commonly referred to as the Building Bridges Initiative, has been dealt a final blow by the Supreme Court. But when did the BBI journey begin? Andrin Kilemi takes us through the BBI chronology.
To change or not to change the Constitution is a question that many Kenyans have been grappling with since the onset of the Building Bridges Initiative process that sought to amend the Constitution ahead of the August 9 polls. The question, however, has been answered as a 7-bench judge declared the BBI process null and void. A flashback of where it all began dates back to March 9th, 2018 at the footsteps of Harambee House, where an unforeseen and pivotal gesture made it to the books of history. Two political nemesis, Raila Odinga and President Uhuru Kenyatta, shook hands. A gesture which, according to the two, was a declaration of unity following the hotly contested 2017 presidential election. Early that year in January, Opposition Chief Raila Odinga was sworn in as the people's president at an historic event in Uhuru Park, a move that was seen by many as an attempt to cripple President Uhuru's leadership. Fast forward, and in 2 short months, the once former political rivals would surprise Kenyans with their famous handshake. That was the beginning of a historic relationship between a sitting president and an opposition leader, which birthed the Building Bridges Initiative. A task force would then be created to fill, compile, and hand over a report to the two handshake partners. The report would entail views from Kenyans across the 47 counties, including testimonies and petitions from professional bodies. In December 2020, Deputy President William Ruto explained his position on BBI. Ruto led more than 100 legislatures, several governors and other politicians in opposing the drive to have the BBI referendum held in 2021. On the 27th of January 2021, ODM chief Raila Odinga and his handshake partner Uhuru Kenyatta began the BBI popularization campaigns in counties and also endeared himself to the voters ahead of 2022. In May 2021, 5 High Court judges blocked a government-backed plan to make fundamental changes to the country's constitution, blocking the BBI initiative, a move that would later be backed up by the Court of Appeal in August 2021, ruling that President Kenyatta's attempt to change the constitution through BBI was unconstitutional. The events of BBI culminated on Thursday afternoon 2022 when the Supreme Court declared BBI unconstitutional, stopping the government's plan to amend the constitution through the Building Bridges initiative. Andrina Akilemi, TV 47.
You are watching TV 47, the home of untold stories. It does not define them, neither does it limit them.
I want to start creating awareness and empowering people with epilepsy.
See, the deaf understand themselves better.
In a world which is arranged with the disabled person in mind, the world is good for everyone.
Catch this inspiring stories every Saturday at 7:30 p.m.
Coming up with a business idea is easy. Starting the business and keeping it running is where the hurdle is.
Yes, each month comes with its own challenges, but you just have to keep being aggressive. Don't give up.
But there are those who, even with a number of challenges, have been able to keep their grind running. From the beauty
Welcome back and thanks for staying with us. Away from the BBI, but just to mention that ahead on Game Plan 2022, my guests and I will be dissecting further that topic. But now, away from that, claims that Deputy President William Ruto attempted to impeach President Uhuru Kenyatta after the 2017 elections continue to elicit mixed reactions, with the Suna East MP Junet Mohammed now claiming that indeed Ruto approached ODM leaders and requested them to help him oust President Uhuru Kenyatta. Mike Gongo with that story.
ANC party leader Musalia Mudavadi on Thursday refuted claims that his Kenya Kwanza partner DP William Ruto hatched a plan to impeach President Uhuru Kenyatta after 2017 general election.
Sisi tunaambia hawa jamaa waache kutupotosha. Hatuna nafasi na hiyo fitina. Kama kuna mtu ambaye tunataka tuelezwe mambo yake ilikuwa namna gani, wewe ndugu Uhuru, badala ya kuzungusha na kuweka vitina kwamba kulikuwa na motion ya kutoa wewe kutoka kwa deputy president, kwanza tueleze yule jamaa alipojiapisha yeye alikuwa nataka akutoe ama asikutoe.
Mudavadi insists that the opponent lack clear agenda for the country and are instead mudslinging the DP to gain some attention.
Do not pontificate for us. Nyinyi watu wa Azimio, stop pontificating and giving a holier than thou attitude about the character of William Samoei Ruto.
This as Suna East MP Junet Mohammed claimed that Deputy President William Ruto offered ODM leader Raila Odinga a plum job if he helped him impeach President Uhuru Kenyatta after the 2017 general election. Junet opines that he was part of the team that discussed the impeachment proposals, which the DP also promised to give Raila's allies half of the senior government positions if the mission was successful. According to Junet, the scheme began immediately after the president was re-elected in 2017, but was abruptly slowed down by the Supreme Court's decision to nullify his victory on the grounds that the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission IEBC had not complied with the constitution while presiding over the polls. During a meeting with the Mount Kenya Council of Elders Caucus on Saturday, March 26th, the president reportedly said he severed ties with his deputy William Ruto after the DP allegedly plotted his impeachment. However, Kikuyu Council of Elders National Chairman Wachira Kiago has refuted the claims, saying the impeachment was not on the agenda when they met President Uhuru Kenyatta.
Na hakuna mtu alisema kitu kama hiyo. President hakusema, mimi ndio nilikuwa MC wa hiyo function kuanzia mwanzo mpaka mwisho. Jambo lingine ni kusema ati president aliita wazee wa Kikuyu. Hapana. Sisi kama wazee, mimi kama patron ndio tulimuomba chairman kikao ambaye ndio mzee mwenzetu Rais Uhuru Kenyatta.
This comes a day after the Azimio flag bearer Raila Odinga denied knowledge of the impeachment. Odinga said he was equally surprised by the reports. Mike Kagwango, TV 47.
To legislative matters now, the Senate has adopted the report by a mediation committee which will see counties get 39.5 billion shillings annually, this paving way for debate and passing off the Division of Revenue Bill ahead of budget reading for the financial year 2022-2023. Speaking while adopting the report, senators have commended the milestone on the mediation committee but still say they won't be moved until National Assembly passes the mediation report. According to the mediation report, the National Treasury is expected to give 7 billion shillings from its coffers, where 32 billion shillings will be drawn from the donor funds. Kitty.
Meeting with the foreign stakeholders for purposes of record of the House, that we did consult the National Treasury and Planning, the Commission of Revenue Allocation, that is CRA, the Council of Governors, COG, well represented by the Governor of Laikipia, and the Control of Budget. Mr. Speaker, the Mediation Committee considered the matter, developed a version of the bill that both houses will pass. The version of the bill is attached to the report on the bill tabled in the House on today, Mr. Speaker. Among the key resolutions made by the Mediation Committee, Mr. Speaker, include A, the bill be referred to as County Government's Additional Allocation Bill. We are agreeing to amend the original title of the bill so that it leans County Government's Additional Allocation Bill 2021. We didn't have a problem with that, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Mutula Kilonzo and Senator Nyamunga, and one of the members of Parliament of the National Assembly, Senator Naisula Lesuda, was a member of the Senate, and I'm sure she could not have voted any differently. Now, I just want to emphasize two things which have been said by the previous speaker, that this bill is important for the Senate for purposes of accountability and oversight. If funds are going to counties, the Senate must have a role in questions of oversight and accountability. And it is important that the National Assembly does not arrogate responsibilities of the Senate on funds that are devolved.
Mr. Speaker, this is a big win for us. I congratulate my chairman, Senator Kibiru, for a job well done. I congratulate the leadership of the Senate. Thank you for listening to us when we requested yesterday. Yeah, I congratulate you, Senator James Orengo, because we pleaded and we said that please allow us, first of all, to reach a mediation agreement. But there is a worry. There is cause for worry. You are not yet off the hook, Senator James Orengo, because we need an assurance that members of the National Assembly will pass this mediation report. Otherwise, we will have been lied to, like a teenage girl, once beaten, twice shy. We stood our ground from the day before yesterday until today, and we are seeing good results. We should not relent. We should ensure that, yes, we will pass this grants bill. We shall wait for the National Assembly to pass the grants bill. Then on Tuesday, we can pass the Division of Revenue Bill. Speaker, we cannot be shortchanged any further. And when the Senate stands together on issues of revenue and funds to counties, good things happen to our counties. On this one, Mr. Speaker, I urge my colleagues that, yes, let us pass this grants bill with celebration and wait for the National Assembly to pass the same bill. Then on Tuesday, we can pass the Division of Revenue bill. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Now, the Ministry of Health has refuted claims that the government will ban the use of plastic feeding bottles for infants. According to the ministry, the government, through Legal Notice number 184 on Breast Milk Substitute Regulations and Control Act of 2012, will regulate the sale and marketing of formula milk as a substitute of breast milk. Zainab Mohammed tells us more.
Starting May 30th, 2022, breast milk substitute manufacturers and marketers will need to follow strict guidelines as far as the sale and marketing of those products is concerned. According to the Ministry of Health, plastic feeding bottles will not be banned. However, the manner in which breast milk substitute products are labeled will change. Manufacturers of feeding bottles shall indicate the dangers of using those bottles, and the packages will have a clear warning sign of risks posed by use of the bottles. At the same time, the interactions between health workers and manufacturers will be strictly regulated.
The ministry is not banning the sale or advertisement or any market or marketing of this. What the ministry is doing is to regulate so that there is no unethical promotion of breast milk substitutes to the citizens of this republic.
The World Health Organization and UNICEF recommends exclusive breastfeeding for infants for the first 6 months and the introduction of nutritionally adequate, safe, complementary foods with continued breastfeeding up to 2 years of age. Further, WHO recommends the use of cup and spoon among infants due to the possibility of infections caused by plastic bottles.
When you talk about this bottle feeding, of course comes with challenge, and one of the major challenges is exposes the child to risk of infections. Risk of infection to the mouth, risk of infection to the ear, infection to the nose, because remember, the developing body of a child is small, and therefore any infection around the areas of the mouth. So you introduce, if it's bacteria or viruses around the mouth, it will go to the throat and eventually to the ears.
Zainab Mohammed, T47.
To education matters now, education stakeholders under the Regional Education Learning Initiative are concerned over the manner in which the 2021 KCPE results were announced early this week. According to the stakeholders, ranking of learners based on their performance and celebrations thereafter could be a leading cause of attempts to cheat in the national examinations. Sharon Baranga with more.
In a number of social media sites in the country, the 2021 KCPE results, which centered on the performance of the learners, dominated the discussions, with a school in Bomet put on the spotlight after its pupils failed to record an exemplary performance. Now, education stakeholders under Regional Education Learning Initiative rally say ranking of the best performance in the national examinations, which is followed by celebrations, could affect pupils who did not perform well in the exams.
Questions must be raised about the candidate scoring less than 100 marks, because this is important for us and it's important for the quality of education in the country. And we need to ask whether these children might be those children with learning disabilities. With 100% transition, what will they do? And how will they cope with learning in secondary school? How does putting children with such a low entry marks in the same class with those others who have scored much higher marks affect teaching and learning in such a classes?
Two things could be done for these children. One is to refer children who are totally unable to read, especially those that cannot even read a word, by grade 2, for early assessment in the county-based educational assessment and resource centers, or referred to as EACs, or to the Kenya Institute of Special Education, KISE, so that such learners can be assessed to ascertain whether they may be having any special needs, so that appropriate placement and intervention could be done. The other is to adopt accelerated learning methods to support learners who have fallen behind.
According to Rayleigh, ranking of the candidates based on their performance could be pushing the learners to cheat in the national examinations to enable them achieve higher marks.
A few years ago, the Ministry of Education did away with the ranking of schools and pupils. It seems though like this may be creeping back slowly. While ranking is said to motivate and reward schools and learners, it probably does more harm than good. In Kenya, it worsens an already bad case of high-stakes examinations, leading to cheating and other irregularities. It minimizes the essence of learning through just a single score and draws focus away from knowledge and learning.
From Rayleigh's analysis of the 2021 KCPE results, private schools performed better in comparison to public schools because of a conducive environment and good infrastructure that is lacking in public schools. Sharon Baranga, TV 47.
You are watching TV 47. It does not define them, neither does it limit them.
I want to start creating awareness and empowering people with epilepsy.
See, the deaf understand themselves better.
In a world which is arranged with the disabled person in mind, the world is good for everyone.
Catch this inspiring stories every Saturday at 7:30 p.m.
Coming up with a business idea is easy. Starting the business and keeping it running is where the hurdle is.
Yes, each month comes with its own challenges, but you just have to keep being aggressive. Don't give up.
But there are those who, even with a number of challenges, have been able to keep their grind running. From the beauty industry to the entertainment industry and even new age marketing. Join me, Violet Njoki, as I take you on a journey of the grind every Monday at 7:30 p.m.
The soil has a story. That is why every week we go in search of different stories from the farm, from fruits, vegetables, and even animals. We talk to different farmers who get to tell us about their produce.
Maziwa ya mbuzi unuka kwa sababu ya hygiene.
If you manage the mango properly, a mindo age.
The Home of Untold Stories.
Welcome back and thanks for staying with us. Police in Machakos County have launched a probe into the murder of a 35-year-old woman whose lifeless body was found in her house on Friday last week. Now, the police have launched a manhunt for the woman's husband, who has since gone missing. This story was produced by Chechi Josephine.
Faith Moeni Mutinda, that 5-year-old, is said to have gone to sleep after dinner on Friday last week at their home in Kikumbo Village, Kalama Sub-County. However, her lifeless body was found on her bed in the morning, with the husband said to have gone missing.
Simu tulianza kupika that day, very early in the morning. Tukapika, haikulia. Sasa tukaanza kuwa na concern about that. Wakati tulienda huko kama saa 3:30 hivi za usiku, saa 4, mimi na bibi yangu tukiwa wawili, tukachukua keys ile zilikuwa hapa zote, tukaenda tukafungua hiyo boma. The first impression, mama aliona miguu ya ya mama ikiwa inalala kwa kitanda, na mimi niliona blood kwa kichwa. Mama akaanza kupika duru.
Confirming the incident, Machakos Sub-County DCIO Simon Waithaka said they have launched a manhunt for Mwene's husband. The body of the deceased has been moved to Machakos mortuary, where post-mortem was carried out, and it was revealed that Mwene had multiple cuts in the body, resulting into excessive bleeding.
Police were able to do preliminary investigation, whereby a murder weapon was recovered in the toilet, which was a panga, and is now kept as an exhibit. Unfortunately, the husband was not found. He is on the land, and this made the police to suspect that he could be the one who was involved. So the investigation are ongoing, and we are tracing him, and we believe that very soon we will get him. So we are appealing to the members of public, anybody who may have information of his whereabouts, to liaise with the police.
Mwene's family, led by her brother Moses Musyoka Mutinda and his cousin Newton Musyoka, is now demanding for justice.
Walikuwa napendana sana. Hata that day walikuwa na furaha vile wanakujanga every by the end of the month, walikuwa na furaha.
Elizabeth Mutuku.
Now, the Thiba Dam water project is complete and awaiting commissioning by President Uhuru Kenyatta. This is according to Cabinet Secretary for Water, Sanitation and Irrigation, James Macharia. Macharia was speaking after he inspected the dam.
After 4 years of construction, finally Thiba Dam in Murang'a County is expected to be commissioned soon, with the final work standing at 99%. Upon completion, the dam is expected to boost food security in the area.
By it being completed, in terms of rice production, it will go up from about 114 million metric tons, to 200 million. So you can see the impact. After we do an additional 10,000 acres of rice production, from the current 25,000 to 35,000. And with double cropping, we shall be having 70,000. So you can see the impact in terms of food production.
According to the CS for Water, James Macharia, the dam is expected to boost the area's economy from 10 billion to 16 billion shillings, as well as create employment opportunities.
You've seen the kind of people this dam has employed, and the idea would be to move to almost 350,000 people, benefiting, from this, particular, project.
Elsewhere in Makomboki in Kigumo, the CS inspected the Northern Water Collector project that is supposed to channel water to Ndakaini Dam. The project, which is 97% complete, will help cut out the deficit of water supplied to Nairobi by 50%, pointing out that there is a shortage of 260 million litres of water used daily in the city and its environs.
We shall be having an additional 140 million litres of water coming out from that water treatment plant. We have made sure that even as water is going to Nairobi, we also catered for the local community, because out of the 140 million liters, 10 million will be given to the people of Gatanga.
The Northern Water Collector project is expected to be completed by July this year, while the Kigoro water treatment plant is 100% complete, pending the laying of transmission pipes. The projects under the Jubilee government countrywide are set to be completed before August. Patronila Goren for TV47.